to keep right.
Hello, my friends. Thank you for watching Prepare to Go There today. This is live stream number 99. What an awesome day. I hope you're ready to put in some work. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Thank you for being a part of this extended coaching journey. Many of you have been on this journey with me since the beginning, learning how to lead yourself, stay focused on your future. And it's a great day. It feels good to be here right on the verge of the season finale for this video podcast. But before I just keep going and share gratitude, I want to welcome each of you, all of you, again to the most overlooked and underrated coaching conversation that we can be a part of. We call it Prepare to Go There. You got a big future. You got things to focus on, and the future is not going to pioneer itself. And so we are willing to put in the necessary, sometimes, most of the time, unnoticed preparation, but we would rather lean forward with hope, with urgency, with expectancy, than pull back with hesitancy and apathy. No, we're the ones who want to go the distance. We're the ones who are going to make a difference, not because we're so awesome, but because we are convinced that the future can be better. So today is November 18, Thursday, and my name is Peter Birchfield. Thank you for just learning with me. Self-leadership is so important, and here's why. Most people don't know how to lead others into a better future. They can talk about it. They can try to put the responsibility of figuring it out on other people. But just because you and I have a team or a title doesn't mean that we know how to lead. It starts with leading yourself. When we know how to lead ourselves into that better future that we're dreaming about, talking about, praying about, that's when we become the one-person version of that big vision. That's when we become the proof of concept, and that's when we can inspire others to go with us. So that's why we show up again and again, because I'm convinced self-leadership is important. Leading yourself turns into leading by example, and then leading by example turns into leading together. So we show up again and again, figuring out how would you lead yourself practically, tactically. How do you stay encouraged? How do you hit due dates? How do you work on your routines, your rhythms? How would you communicate what's important to you more effectively? How do you deal with the unknowns, the unexpecteds? And how do you go through all of the stuff of life and stay focused on your future at the same time? Pushing forward on multiple fronts of your life without losing the meaning of your life at the same time. And if this idea resonates with you, you say, man, that's kind of what I've been living through. I am leading already. I'm leading other people. I'm leading my family. I'm leading a team. I'm leading a brand, a movement. but I can't let go of the responsibility, the onus to keep leading myself. And if you want to be a part of this amazing community of friends and leaders, my conviction is that this community represents many of the people that are going to influence the future, that are going to shape tomorrow for the better. That's not just abstract, they're really taking action. I've had many conversations with entrepreneurs, with pastors, with parents, with artists, with lawyers, and on and on. People who are passionate about using their best years to pioneer. And that's where we show up again and again, dreaming about the future, identifying with what's important and what's possible, and ultimately rolling up our sleeves, getting to work. So I want to invite you, be a part of this amazing community. I call it the Future Friends. Give your future some more friends, people that will keep you going, keep you growing. I send out an email once a week on Fridays, just a bundle, a roundup of all of the coaching conversations we're having that week. And I also share info and incentives for the projects I'm working on with you in mind. For instance, in a few days, we're going to be celebrating because tomorrow is episode 100, the season finale of the Charter podcast. Prepare to go there. And then right after that, Saturday morning, we're going to be pulling together live in a online leadership mastermind. And this is one of my favorite things to do, honestly, because I'm hanging out with so many amazing people. I see Joshua in the chat. I'm so excited you're coming, bro. I cannot wait. I'm thinking of more ways to just encouraging and just add fuel to your focus. And many more names I could shout out. We've got just a few spaces left. It is not too late if you want to jump in on the Future Focused Leadership Mastermind. And we'll figure out a way to get the replay out there to those who can't make it. And we still have 2022. And I'm hoping and counting on more leadership masterminds in 2022. You say, why are you so, fired up about helping people with their routines? I mean, that doesn't sound too epic. Peter, why are you so insistent on, time budgeting and and being intentional? Why are you so big on having a relational approach to leadership instead of just, moving things faster with your positional authority? The reason is I'm convinced the future is going to need more leaders, not fewer. And like you, I'm convinced that in the future, leadership is going to matter more, not less. So we've got to really prepare ourselves. And then we have to have the empathy and the empowerment to help others. So that way, together, we can experience that better future. The whole theme of the Future Focus Leadership Mastermind is 2022. How do we take on new territory? And I'm going to tell you the secret. I'm going to give you the whole summary of the Leadership Mastermind in one sentence. You can't do it alone. That's it. You can't do it alone. You're going to have a team. And whether it's a team that you assemble or a team you collaborate with, We have to be team minded. And so we'll be learning how we can be empowered and aligned for new territory. Uh, we're kind of finishing a conversation this week, and I think it's appropriate for the season finale. How do you collect your gains after you've had a full day, after you've had a big meeting, after you've been working on and working through a challenging project? How do you put in that strategic pause to make sure that you're not just stopping, but you're finishing? It would be really sad to put in all of that time and energy and then undo, unravel all that hard work with maybe a lapse of judgment. Maybe you're tired and you just kind of bypass something. And it is possible, absolutely, to trip in the last few steps of a routine, of a gathering, of a project, and of a year. It is possible to just miss the landing, to not stick the landing. If I could use a word picture, it'd be like practicing for years and years on an Olympic routine, maybe in the gymnast category. And then you do all those stunts and all those flips and all those things. And then if you can't stick the landing, then all that work is vulnerable. And I want to help you finish well. A lot of us are just thinking about quitting time, and I want you to think more about your finish line. So I want to focus on how do you actually collect your gains at the end of 2021. And the reason we want to collect our gains is so that way we can reinvest them into the new year. How do we take the valuable parts of what's been working, and then how do we multiply that value moving forward? It's easier said than done because more people are talking than doing, but it can be done. And so let me start by, what I don't mean when I say collect your gains, because I think it's easy to, assume that collect your gains means, just do whatever you need to stop working on time. Just make sure that you finish right on the dot. Make sure that you, button everything up, you close all the loops, and then that's it. It's not going to be that straightforward. Another thing I'm not saying is, well, just stop working when you feel like things aren't working. Now, that's a part of it, but that's not the purpose of it. Let me say that again. There are natural starting points and natural stopping points. Many times we get to choose the start and the stop of a conversation, of a meeting, of a project, of a week, of a responsibility. And so we have to detect those natural starting points, stopping points. We are driving on the road, so to speak. Here comes another metaphor. If you're driving on the road, you have to know when to change lanes to get ready for the exit. And if we don't have that situational awareness, we could run too closely to the exit, and then we put things in jeopardy because we're swerving when we could have been a little more intentional about getting in position before that exit is taken, before that big change is needed. So I'm not saying that this is all about, collect your gains means just stop on time and stop when you feel like things are getting hard, I'm saying don't eject from anything until you are confident that you have finished well. And there are different levels of finishing. On one side, there's a negative aspect where it's just like you just opt out, you drop out, you just kind of roll out. The analogy I've used is if you're eating dinner and then you just kind of leave, you just kind of abandon the dinner table and you leave all of the food there, you leave all the dishes there, you're not cleaning up, you're not picking up. I mean, that's what a lot of us do with the whole year. We're not thinking about what happened. We're not being intentional about putting things up. We're not being intentional about making decisions of what we will stop doing for the new year or what we'll start doing for the new year. We just kind of move on. Like there was no need for a transition. There was nothing to do. But when you understand that there are realistic transitions that happen all the time, and then you're able to factor in and buffer in the necessary time to actually make that transition successful. For instance, here comes another example. If you're eating with your family at a restaurant, you don't just put your fork down and head to your car. I mean, maybe if you're a kid, but if you're the adult in the small group at the restaurant, you put your fork down and then you tell somebody, "Hey, we're about to leave. Can I get the check?" If you don't hit that transition, if you don't transition well from the dinner table at the restaurant to your car in the parking lot, you're going to be in trouble. And it's actually going to cost you more time, more money to do the damage control of something that could have been taken care of much more efficiently. And so many times we just kind of breeze through. We just kind of breeze through the day and we just kind of opt out and we drop out and we eject from things that we don't like doing. And then we got to walk right back into all that stuff. And you can act like the worst parts of your life are behind you now, in the rearview mirror of 2021. But the truth is, you're still taking all of your habits with you. You're still taking all of your relationships with you. You're still taking all of your ideas, potentially issues with you. If you don't know how to resolve your direction, your decisions, if you don't know how to properly process what's been happening, and you don't, and I'm not just saying deal with the rough, tough stuff, but I'm saying there's been a lot of good as well. And you've got to strategically pause so you don't leave that available for something else or somebody else, or just for, just to be wasted. But collect those gains and take them with you into the future. So before you sign off on 2021, I want to help you send off the valuable parts of this year into 2022. And when we think about, collecting our gains in the entire year, it's kind of daunting, kind of intimidating. I mean, where do you even begin? And I want to push that into the chat right now. How are you going to collect your gains for the entire year? Not just the last 30 days of the year, but over 300 days worth of life experiences, choices, progress, pain, conversations, goals. I mean, how do you just process all of that? What are some of the things that you're thinking about? What are some of the things you're working on to make sure that you have future proofed everything you did, everything you've been working on and working towards in 2021? I guess another way I could say this is, if I want to future proof this year, so many of us think, well, I'm just ready to get out of this year. I'm just ready to finish this year so that way I can get on with the new year. And you forget, you have, respectfully speaking, we can get amnesia because that's what we said about 2020. We said, oh, 2020 was the worst. 2021 is going to be the best year ever, best life now. Level up. Here we go. This is it. Game changer. We're going to just do it all, have it all, be it all. And then somewhere, I don't know where it is, but somewhere around August, maybe, we kind of forget that we were so optimistic about 2021 and that we romanticized what's going to happen, and we overestimated what we could get done in 12 months, and we keep underestimating what we can do with consistency and perseverance and continuity and alignment. And somewhere around August, we just say, oh, 2021 was the worst. I can't wait to get out of this year. I can't wait to leave this chapter behind. But 2022, going to be the best year ever. Best life now. Going to do it all, have it all, be it all. And here we go. We're just repeating the same process. If we don't know how to collect our gains, then we're not building on anything. We're not adding to the success to multiply our contributions, to multiply our impact, to multiply the work we're doing. So where do you even start? How do you even start going through the year, combing through the weeks, the days, the hours, the moments? And how do you go on that treasure hunt looking for the value, finding all of the valuable people and places, projects and pieces? How do we put that all together? How do we capture that and bundle that and then, kind of box that up and then send that off into our future? Now, this is going to be a very dumb example, so please pardon me. I've used up all of my good ideas in the first 98 episodes, perhaps. No, I'm teasing, but the point is, I'm seeing a mental movie. Do you remember the I forget which Spider-Man it was, but I think it was the first Spider-Man. And they were packing up, they were moving out of the Avengers Tower, and they were putting all of that stuff, all of that valuable stuff on the airplane. Remember that? They're putting all that valuable stuff on the airplane, and they're about to move it to the new Avengers headquarters. And that's the mental picture I want you to have. Before you just move on to the new place, before you just move on to the new year, are you actually going back through the rooms of the past 12 months? And are you identifying the valuable parts of that year? And are you taking that with you into your new normal, into your future? Because number one, That stuff is valuable. It is meaningful. It has personal significance to you. It can also be very useful for where you're going to be. Not to mention, you already put a lot of time and care and investment in creating or curating all those things already. So don't waste all that work. Figure out how are you going to future proof it. Figure out how are you going to repurpose it. Figure out how you're going to multiply it. Be thinking about multiplying. And what I'm basically saying is think about being effective and fruitful with what you have already done. Steward what's already been given to you. Steward what's already been entrusted to you. If you're faithful with little, you'll be found faithful over much. There's an awesome life lesson that I'm remembering. It says that Jesus described people who are in the kingdom of God. They are like homeowners that have treasures new and old, and they know how to arrange and how to pack and present those treasures in the right way at the right time. And your life is this beautiful arrangement of treasures new and old, things that you've experienced, things that have been taught to you, things that you've walked through and led, and you've got all of these life experiences. And so many times we just say, well, this is a new normal for me, a new chapter in my life, and I'm just kind of cutting ties with everything that identified me with that old chapter. But then that would just make you 2D. That would make you kind of more of a character than to really give you character. And you need all of those layers of living to create that beautiful, nuanced mosaic of your life story that's then going to be presented to others. So I'm just talking about this mindset going backward to actually launch forward. Now, this isn't original, but I think it fits and it's appropriate. It's like a bow and arrow with an archer. They take the arrow back before it gets launched ahead. So many times we think that if we're going to just, launch into the new year, we just got to, move forward and that's it. But there is a strategic pause. I'm going to connect this or try to hyperlink this to collect your gains. There is a strategic pause where we actually pull back, where we actually experience a little bit of tension, and then we release everything that we have worked on and we send it into the future. So that's what I want you to do, is think not about what you're going to bag and drag into the new year, but think about what are you going to send into your future. So let's get into some of these examples. I want to challenge you to take a strategic pause. And personally, I think it's between Thanksgiving and the new year. I think that's a good window of opportunity. You take a little bit of time off every day, a little bit more time off every week. You take a little bit more time off every month. You should take a lot of time off every year, and then go even further. You have seasons in your life where you've been, head down, working hard, staying focused for a number of years. And then you have something of like a larger period. In my context, in the ministry space, we would call it a sabbatical. And sometimes it has a good connotation. Sometimes it can have a negative connotation. I mean it in a good way right now. But the point is, you have to have the appropriate amount of refuge the appropriate amount of fortification before you take on the future. And trust that even when you're not, doing the stuff, that things are working for your good. And that is a step of faith. That is trust in action. So I want you to practice sending the valuable parts of your year into your future and figure out, if you got a phone call today and you had to jet, and I mean literally get on a jet and go fly somewhere for a while, and then you came back, how would things be set up? Would you walk into, things in shambles, or would you walk into things with order, with intentionality, with purpose? We are always leading like we're leaving. We're always leading like we're leaving. That's the way I kind of approach my practical lifestyle, my leadership philosophy, and ultimately my life's work. I want to be leading like I'm leaving. I want to understand that, the really big stuff in life didn't start with me, and it's not going to finish with me. And so I have to be a good steward. And that's a funny word, but it means that I'm going to be a good manager, and I'm going to take care of what's been entrusted to me. And I actually want to pass on more than I was given. And that actually is proof of concept that, I took the job seriously. So here are 3 things I would do practically to collect your gains before 2022, before any new year. Number 1, organize your memories. Organize your memories. A lot of people, they're focused on making money. But what if you put just as much energy in making memories? Right? People don't remember what you tell them. They remember how you made them feel. People care about the moments. People care about your interactions. People care about the investments and the deposits that you put on them and in them as people. And so our memories are really valuable. Whenever someone is in a crazy, unexpected situation, let's say, hypothetically speaking, the building's on fire, what do you run in to go get? You don't run in and get the food. You run in and you look for the wedding photos, or you look for the marriage certificate, or you go in and get the birth certificate, or you get those things that are irreplaceable, the things that are valuable, the things that are so personal and dear to you. I want to challenge you to think about your long game. Think about that ongoing story of your life, and you've got these different chapters and installments, and you think it's all accessible right now, but I mean, just give it a few years, and then you're going to be scratching your head saying, where was that picture? Where was that video? Where was that memory? Where was that time? And you may feel like, man, I don't have good memories. I don't even want to remember some of the stuff that happened this year. And that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. But I want to encourage you that you get to frame up the story. You get to be the curator of all of those memories and moments. And one of the things I love to do is not just have this ongoing camera roll on my phone, but I try to organize those pictures. I try to organize those videos. I try to organize those moments, those memories. And I do so in a few ways. I like to back them up on external hard drives. I like to back them up in the cloud. I like to organize things in Evernote. And it takes a little bit of extra time, but it will future-proof a lot of the things I put time into. And there's a lot of good ideas in your journals and in your phones. I mean, I know many of you just got notes on notes in your phone, and you've got book ideas and business ideas and songs, and then they're all kind of in that raw formational stage. They're not really developed, they're just more ideas. You got this amazing kind of quarry of creativity, and you've got to develop them somehow. But if you lose them to disorganization, if you lose them to some sort of, semblance of anarchy, then it's gone. It's gone. And don't think that, well, I'll just remember everything. It's like the classic quote, from Getting Things Done. Your brain was meant to have ideas, not hold ideas. That's why I don't live in my head. For me as a Christian, I'm living out of the Spirit. But that's another point. The point is, be diligent with your memories. Take care of the pictures and the videos and the photos, and don't just think about, well, it's in that folder, it's in a sort folder. Try to add a little bit of intentionality and art and storytelling. You have the privilege of telling a story that no one else can tell. And you get to tell the story from your point of view. I mean, that is powerful. Your voice is powerful. Your point of view is powerful. Are you just going to neglect it by ejecting out of the year, severing off from all of those experiences? Or are you going to have a strategic pause, collect your gains, assess all of this stuff, and then simply quickly organize them in a way that you can future-proof them, and then you can take the valuable parts into the future with you? The second thing I want you to do is summarize your decisions. Summarize your decisions. Here's a funny little example, but it could be used as a test or a tool even. Imagine that you go to someone's wedding. You're visiting a wedding, okay? And you haven't seen some of these people in a long time. So you hit it off with them, you reconnect, you say, "Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you. How are you doing?" They say, "I'm doing great, and this is it," and you're like, "Wow, awesome." And then they ask you, "So, what have you been up to? So, what have you been up to?" And you have to quickly summarize a lot of time. You have all this context. You have all of the you got all the feels there. You can't just take them down memory lane. You can't say, "Oh, I've organized all my pictures. I've organized all my videos. I've crafted and curated an amazing life story. Do you want to go through it?" That's not what that's for. But instead, you have to think quick on your feet and say, "Huh, that's true. How did I get here? What have I been doing?" Now, whatever you would tell that person in that moment, and remember, there's people moving around. People are talking and laughing and hanging out and having a good time. So they're not even really that focused. You've got to figure out a way to summarize a lot of days, a lot of details, and a lot of decisions. But using that kind of environment or context to think through the past year, how would you boil down all those days, all those details into a few inflection points on your own personal trajectory? Could you look back and say, "You know what? It's been a great year." And I would tell you there were some high points and some low points, and I can pinpoint them back to the day and the decision And now I have more clarity and I'm using it to get the closure. And I'm actually going to assess what were those decision points along the way, because hindsight is 2020, right? But you can use that to your advantage. If you learn the practice of summarizing on the easy stuff, which is the stuff that's already happened, it becomes a skill set that you can use more and more in the form of intuition for the future, because summarizing is a skill set. Now, the data you're summarizing may be different, but practice summarizing the major decisions that got you to where you are. So, number one, so you can understand your trajectory. But number two, so that way you don't make the same decisions again and again and again. And number three, so that way you can be a resource or something of a coach for other people. And you're now applying life experiences to the wisdom that's being built up. So, summarizing decisions are massive, because it would be, I think, unrealistic to act like you're just going to come up with some whole new plan if you're not humble enough, to grade the past plans that you've been working on. And so summarize your plans. I like to do this obviously through journaling. I like to do it through metrics. I like to do it through data points and feedback and conversations. And that may take a while, but if you invest a little bit of time and you have a strategic pause to collect your gains, say, you know what were the key decisions that helped me the most this year? What can I double down on so that way I can level up? What am I going to steer clear of so that way I don't get in that situation again? It's not just about reciting what already happened, like facts, you know, but it's about understanding how those decision points actually shaped the person you are today, realizing the impact that decisions have on where you're going one day as well. The last thing I want to encourage you with is to, before the new year, strategize your lifestyle. Strategize your lifestyle. This is so much fun. I mean, we have a gift, right? The gift, the life we have is a gift. And the way we live it is the way we say thank you for that gift. And so you get to design your morning routine, your evening routine. You get to think about the values that you are running with and running towards. And you get to see it on paper, on purpose, and live with intentionality. And when you strategize your lifestyle and you're looking ahead, you're collecting your gains, it's not about adding on more and more and more stuff. Preparing can also look like pruning. Preparing can look like pruning. Pruning is an agricultural term. It means that you're cutting off things that have had a measure of growth in the past, but you're going to cut them off to make room for new growth in the future, for multiplied fruit in the future. So pruning is a form of preparing. So one of the questions you might ask is not what do I want to start doing, because that's the fun stuff, right? I want to start podcasts. I want to start dating this person. I'm looking forward to starting a new job. I'm looking forward to start a new initiative for the city. And we got all these plans of things we want to start doing, but you don't have enough room, you don't have enough bandwidth, you don't have enough energy, you don't have enough margin to do any of that. You're kind of maxed out unless and until you strategize your lifestyle on a new level and you leverage those key decisions we talked about to strategically prune back, so that way you can expect more room for the future. And I think the easiest way to do that is look at your time. Strategize your lifestyle by looking at your time. Time budgeting is a big thing. Time budgeting is something we can do proactively. Time tracking is something we do more after the fact. But time budgeting is so helpful because you just say, hey, I only have so many hours in the day. I only have so many weeks in the month. Let me just do the math. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up yet. So then you stop saying, how much time would that cost? You say, how could I make this work? I think some of the best things we can do is really stretch ourselves and say, this by this by this, X by Y, I'm going to do this by this day. Then you start thinking differently. If you say, I'm going to make X amount of revenue by this day, not day, probably year, whatever it is, quarter. Constraints help you create. And you're strategizing your lifestyle. You're strategizing what's important, what's possible. You're looking at your values. You want to get to know the person you want to be like in the future. And before you blast off into the new year, you have to do that bow and arrow thing. You got to pull back, feel the tension as you're pulling back, because hey, you got to keep doing life and you got responsibilities and people are waiting on answers and all this stuff. I know, but you're still strategically getting away so that way you can get ahead. And you want to strategize your lifestyle. Collect your gains today to invest them into your future. I want to pause here with just a practical thing, something that I enjoy doing each year. I normally do it around New Year's Eve, but I make a list of people that have meant a lot to me in that year. And I just send them a quick text message before New Year's. And I just say something simple like, thank you for making 2021 great for me. Thank you for investing in me in 2021. I want to invite you to, keep going. Let's keep going in 2022. I want to thank you. I look forward to 2022. And it's just like this little intentional transition in relationships, in friendships, where you say, hey, I want to recognize the value that you've had in my life, and I want to initiate and invite you into the new year, realizing that a lot of times relationships don't sever, they just drift apart. A lot of times relationships don't have like really strong breakups. They just have these elongated, slow breakdowns. It's when we refuse to do the relational maintenance. It's when we don't take those small amounts of time to send the text, to ask the question, to initiate with no strings attached. And it's those little seeds that we're planting in that invisible garden And then later on, they just, they bloom and multiply in so many unique and unexpected ways. So think about that as you're collecting your gains at the end of this year. Think about the people and then strategically reinvest in those relationships and even cast vision for the future and paint a bigger picture of the future. That's one thing I love to do. I'll just kind of lead you into some of my philosophy and, you know, some of my why. I love, love, love encouraging people about where they're going. Obviously, I want to honor them for things that they've already done. I want to recognize them for the gifts that they have, the contributions they've made. But I love, love, love to dream with people about their future because you're actually, extending so much time and space. You have so much in common waiting on you in the future. Many times you reconnect with people and you don't have as much in common. I'm personally, it's very surreal and it's very crazy and scary even to think that friendships that I had in high school, I don't keep up with them anymore. I wouldn't even know like where to begin in the conversation. And that's not bad. I get that that's probably a season of life, but I wouldn't want that to be said of the key relationships that I value today. It is possible if we're not, keeping up with those key relationships. And, as a Christian, that is even true of my own relationship with the Lord, where there's a moment where, Jesus says he's going to look around, he's going to say, hey, you know, I don't know you. I don't know you anymore. I don't know you anymore. And that's not to put a downer here at the verge of, episode 99 going into the season finale, but it is an encouragement to always be future focused and even be future focused about where your current relationships are. Don't have a static mental picture of the people in your life, but have a growing picture, a growing understanding of the people in your life. Don't just say, oh, well, that was my friend in sports, so that's all they could ever do with their life is sports. No, they might become like an awesome business owner. They might become, a great leader, a great dad, or a great whatever. I mean, and give people room to grow and make that room by asking those caring questions, those clarifying questions, by dreaming about their future with them. You're giving them a ton of room and you're giving them space and you're making more room for that friendship to flourish even in the future. And you don't know who you're going to need in the future. You don't know how people can work together in the future. And so let's always be future focused and let's, start with the end in mind, so to speak. And that's another aspect of collecting your gains each year is be intentional to go back and say thank you. Be intentional to invest deeply in people's dreams and their goals and be an encourager and be a resourcer. And do it with no strings attached and do it with just a sincere motive, a genuine motive to help people because we all need encouragement. I mean, life is tough. Life is crazy. If anybody acts like they got it all figured out, don't buy it. People can have a well-ordered life. That's an advantage. But just realize that everybody are people and everybody needs just a friend. So that's kind of where I want to land it here at the end of Prepare to Go There 99. Think about how you're sending things into your future and how could you package them in a way that it would be easily accessible or even translatable in the future context. Um, I'd love to just land with some interaction, maybe some back and forth. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, this would be a great time for that. So let me hear from you. I know we got a few people live right now. I want to hear, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? And this honestly is one of the reasons why I love the masterminds, because I don't get um, that level of interaction only in this setting. I mean, I could make videos and that's fine, but it's not as fun. And then I'd probably be doing a lot of different takes. But when I know, man, I got to show up at, let's say, 4 o'clock. Another thing too with collecting your gains is getting feedback. Make sure that you're getting good feedback before you do the same thing again. Well, let me just say thank you so much for everyone who's been a part of this extended coaching journey. Um, I'm so encouraged. I'm grateful. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to 2022. I'm looking forward to many more conversations with friends and leaders. I'm looking forward to pull our heads together, our hearts together to really level up uh, from self leadership to servant leadership, even on to generational leadership. I believe we got a lot of important and good, meaningful work to do. And I know we're not going to get it done in one day. And I know we can't do it alone. And so we're going to put in the necessary, unnoticed preparation. We're going to keep showing up again and again because there will be a day when we show up, we want to show up ready. That is it for me. I'm going to sign off and I want to remind you, keep going, keep growing. And actually, I do want to give y'all a gift. If you have not gotten the free fail proof planning guide, this is the perfect time to download it. You just click the link below, name and email. That's all you need to drop in. It'll get you in the Future Friends email community. And then that'll help you to stay in touch as we move into season 2. I just noticed a comment in the chat. Joshua says, sentimental at this point, excited to finish collecting the gains of the year the right way. Well said. Great summary. Hey, you're awesome. I'm with you. I'm here to help and keep going. Y'all inspire me. I will see you tomorrow for the grand finale. And I'm so excited because I'm going to be sharing a great coaching conversation with a friend who is a leader, who is also my brother-in-law. Ryan Circles is going to be the future friend for Prepare to Go There 100. So show up and we'll be there together. I appreciate y'all. Prepare to Go There.